Welcome to the Deep Dive. This is the place where we cut right through the noise of the global news cycle. We take that whole stack of sources you've seen, the flash reports, the geopolitical statements, all the economic data, and we really pull out the absolute core of what you need to know without the overwhelm. So today, our mission is to make sense of a truly contradictory world. I mean, one minute we're seeing global superpowers actually cooperate on climate. The next, we're watching foundational systems just crumble under a digital attack. We're going to give you the context, the actionable knowledge, and really the deeper so what. Now, before we unpack all of that, I want to take just a moment to thank our partners who really make this whole analytical journey possible. This deep dive was brought to you by ProCare Hanoi. They're the phone and laptop repair shop that's really trusted by the expat community. Fast service, clear communication, and honest advice. Exactly what you need when your tech starts to sweat, maybe right in the middle of a global cyber crisis like we're about to discuss. So go see them if your hardware is holding you back. And speaking of foundational support, this whole project is a labor of love. So if you found value in us sifting through the chaos for you, I'd really love your support. Buy me a coffee is just the simplest way to say thanks. And trust me, every single cup keeps the research fueled and the lights on. Just scan the QR code in the cover art. And to those who've already supported us, a huge thank you. You are really fueling this journey.
That's a perfect frame for this because the source material we have today is just.
Yeah.
It's a world operating under radical contradiction. It's dizzying. We're tracking two massive global forces at the same time. On one hand, you have this rare high-stakes cooperation between Washington and Beijing,
Right.
trying to avert a planetary disaster. And then, at the exact same time, you have these systemic shockwaves exposing these fundamental cracks in everything. Digital governance, social structures, we're seeing the highest achievements of diplomacy and the most severe examples of institutional fragility. All happening right now.
That tension really defines the whole stack of sources, doesn't it? It feels like we're balancing on a geopolitical tightrope.
Hey,
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's start with the biggest surprise of the week. A genuine, enforceable win for climate diplomacy. I mean, the joint statement from Washington and Beijing about hydrofluorocarbons, HFCs, that's a massive development.
it is.
These two powers who are, constantly bumping heads on nearly everything else, they've agreed to start joint inspections of factories. Factories using banned HFCs starting January 1st.
And that level of mutual trust, of access, given the current state of U.S.-China relations, it's genuinely astonishing.
It really is.
It is astonishing. And the sources make it really clear this wasn't driven by some newfound friendship. Not at all. It was driven by cold, hard necessity. HFCs are what they call super greenhouse gases.
Right.
Because they're thousands of times more potent than carbon dioxide as a warming agent.
And the sources revealed why the urgency suddenly spiked, didn't they?
Exactly. Satellite data confirmed that China had quietly restarted or at least significantly ramped up HFC production in 2024.
Despite the agreements.
Despite the international agreements to phase them out. So you see, an agreement without teeth is meaningless, especially with something this dangerous. This is why analysts are calling the agreement to allow joint enforcement
On their own soil.
on sovereign soil. They're calling it the biggest climate cooperation move since COP 48.
So the enforcement mechanism, that's the real story here. I mean, past climate pacts, they always relied on self-reporting.
Always.
So why is this commitment to joint inspections actually allowing foreign experts onto factory floors? Why is that the definitive turning point?
Because it moves the whole commitment from paper to performance. I mean, international enforcement, especially between great powers, it always gets stuck on the issue of sovereignty.
Sure.
So allowing verified cross-border inspections shows that both nations did the math. They calculated that the cost of inaction, planetary destabilization,
Is now higher.
is now much higher than the cost of losing a tiny, tiny bit of sovereign control. It sets a terrifyingly good precedent for future environmental agreements.
And the market got the message immediately. Clean tech stocks in both Shenzhen and New York. They jumped, 6 to 9%?
Yeah, in early trading.
That tells you everything. It shows that investors see certified enforcement as the key.
It's the key that unlocks the next wave of green investment. They trust verified action way more than rhetoric.
But, like you said, the global narrative never grants us much peace. Because almost at the same time, we pivot from international cooperation to massive digital conflict. the Dark Horizon cyber attack.
We shift from an atmospheric threat we just managed to contain to a digital threat that just hit our infrastructure like a sledgehammer. I mean, this was a profoundly coordinated ransomware attack.
Right.
It didn't just target systems, it crippled government portals across the EU, the UK, and several Balkan countries.
This isn't just stealing data anymore.
No, this is about systematically interrupting the delivery of critical public services.
And the culprits, this group Dark Horizon, they demanded a staggering ransom. 800 million euros in Bitcoin.
Yeah. It just crystallizes this new front line of global conflict, doesn't it? Digital extortion targeting the basic functions of a state.
What's fascinating here is how quickly the digital crisis became a physical one.
It did. The sources highlight that hospitals in Poland and Italy were forced to switch entirely to analog systems.
Pen and paper backups.
Pen and paper backups. I want you to just picture that for a second.
Yeah.
A state-of-the-art European emergency room,
Right?
suddenly relying on clipboards and carbon paper for patient histories, diagnostics, scheduling, all because of some code written thousands of miles away.
All that efficiency we gained with digital systems
Yes.
just gone in an instant.
Evaporated.
And the institutional reaction was just as telling. The EU triggered Article 222 emergency protocols. I know that sounds like bureaucratic jargon,
It does.
but this is a massive deal.
It really is. Article 222 of the Treaty on the Functioning of the EU, it has never been used for a cyber event before, ever.
So what's it usually for?
It's typically reserved for massive physical disruptions, major terrorist attacks, widespread natural disasters, pandemics.
Okay.
Activating it means the EU recognizes the cyber attack as an existential threat to the union's stability.
So what does triggering that protocol actually allow them to do that they couldn't before?
It immediately mobilizes mutual assistance. It allows the EU to coordinate military and intelligence resources across borders to pool financial aid to the victims.
Like those hospitals.
Exactly, like the hospitals that suddenly need massive new tech budgets. And it lets them mandate a unified defensive posture. It elevates the digital attack from just a series of criminal incidents to a collective security challenge.
So governments have finally accepted that these big cyber attacks carry the same weight as a physical threat.
At the end of the day, yes, that's the message.
Okay, moving from the immediate shock of that digital breakdown, let's delve into what is probably the slowest moving, but maybe the most institutionally profound crisis in our sources. I'm talking about the stunning demographic data coming out of South Korea. This feels less like a problem and more like a long-term economic implosion happening in slow motion.
It's a demographic emergency. I mean, it's unprecedented in modern history. The preliminary 2025 fertility rate dropped to an all-time low of just 0.55.
0.55.
Yeah. And for anyone who isn't familiar with this data, a population needs a rate of 2.1 just to replace itself.
Just to stay level.
Right. South Korea is producing roughly one child for every 4 people needed to keep the population level. Think of it like a company where only 1 out of every 4 retirees gets replaced by a new hire.
It's completely unsustainable.
It's a cliff edge.
And the government's response reflects pure high-stakes panic. They announced this unprecedented incentive package. Every newborn in 2026 will receive a $100 million trust fund.
Which is roughly $70,000 US.
$70,000, plus free housing until age 30.
Yeah.
That is easily a $250,000 incentive package over 3 decades. For one child, it's an insane investment.
It is.
But isn't this just putting a financial band-aid on what is fundamentally a cultural problem?
This raises an important question, and it's the core skepticism that all of the demographers share. Money alone cannot easily reverse these profound cultural shifts. The government is basically engaging in economic triage. They know the cost of total demographic collapse, a collapsing labor force, no way to fund Social Security, a disappearing consumer market, is far, far greater than this initial investment.
So they're literally purchasing future taxpayers.
They are purchasing future taxpayers and Social Security contributors, but the underlying cause of this collapse, it isn't just economics, it's cultural stress. Korea has among the highest costs for private education, crushing job competition, and infamously demanding work culture.
So young people are just opting out.
They're choosing to prioritize career, personal freedom, education over the immense financial and time cost of raising a child in that environment. Handing them money doesn't solve the 80-hour work week.
Or the crippling housing prices.
Feel of it all?
So the incentive might solve a financial hurdle for some, but not the structural dilemma. What are the global implications for the listener watching this happen?
They're massive. This is not just a South Korean story. They're at the sharpest end of the spear. But this demographic curve is facing nearly every developed, rapidly aging economy.
Japan, Germany, Italy,
and increasingly parts of the U.S. If this extreme intervention fails, the entire global model for maintaining a modern economy, the one that relies on population growth, youth taxes, funding elder care, consumer expansion, it breaks down. We have to prepare for a fundamental re-engineering of pension systems, labor immigration policies, and global growth expectations, and that's coming in the next 2 decades.
That's a sobering thought. Okay, let's pivot now, keeping that idea of systemic stability in mind. Let's look at the dynamic, often contradictory world of tech and finance from the last sections of our sources. We see this unbelievable speed in one area.
And complete stagnation in another.
Exactly. And this is where it gets really interesting. Look at AI. OpenAI released the GPT-5o Enterprise Edition. The spec that matters most is the 100K context window.
All right.
Now, for the non-technical listener, context window is basically the memory capacity of the AI for a single task.
Think of it this way. Older AI models could maybe read a pamphlet and answer questions about it. GPT-5o can read an entire library. Or, and this is the crucial part, an entire code base for a massive piece of software. All at once. It instantly understands the internal logic, it spots bugs, it proposes fixes. This just drastically speeds up innovation.
It removes the bottleneck.
It removes the fundamental bottleneck of information flow. So the speed of digital creation is now accelerating exponentially.
And yet the physical world refuses to cooperate at that speed. Contrast that rapid abstract advancement with hardware. Our sources note Apple quietly delayed its foldable iPhone again.
Now pushed to mid-2027.
It's such a telling contrast, isn't it?
It is, and it raises a question about resource allocation. Software capabilities, driven by pure compute power and these huge language models, they're soaring. They're achieving impossible things every quarter. Meanwhile, hardware, bending glass, battery chemistry, complex supply chains, it's still limited by physics, by manufacturing, by geopolitics.
So there's a widening chasm.
The huge chasm between what the digital mind can conceive and what the physical world can actually deliver to the consumer. That gap itself is going to define the next decade.
Okay, moving to the chaos and volatility in finance and politics. The source material hits us with a number of quick, high-impact stories. They really show the market is still searching for firm ground.
The volatility is intense. It proves that no single asset class offers true safety right now. Bitcoin touched $113,400 before pulling back.
Which is a huge number.
It's a huge number, but the real significance is that national treasuries are now deep in this game. El Salvador's National Reserve holding is now over 6,000 BTC. This legitimizes Bitcoin as an asset for sovereign risk management. Every finance minister has to pay attention now.
At the same time, political instability is still rocking Latin America. The source notes the chaos in Argentina.
Yeah, President Milei survived an impeachment vote by the absolute narrowest of margins, 212 to 198.
Amidst the dollarization chaos, can you unpack what that means for us?
Sure. Milei's plan is to radically replace the peso with the US dollar to try and stabilize hyperinflation.
Right.
But the transition has created massive immediate economic distress, price spikes, wage stagnation, social unrest. And that led to that razor-thin vote. That close call just shows you how fragile radical economic reform is when it's causing immediate pain.
And why does it matter to the listener?
Because Argentina's stability impacts global commodity markets, especially grain and lithium, that directly influences prices and supply chains everywhere.
And while all this is going on, the digital, financial, political maneuvering, the physical world, just reminds us who's really in charge.
Always.
Mount Toby erupting again in Indonesia. 12,000 people evacuated on Flores Island. It's just a sobering moment of perspective, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. All our planning, all our market volatility, it's secondary to geology.
I do have to acknowledge, though, cutting through the gloom and the magma plumes, one localized note of pure joy from our sources.
Oh, yeah.
Vietnam beat Thailand 2-1 in the AFF Cup semifinal. Hanoi is celebrating. And in a world facing such intense shockwaves, sometimes a moment of collective celebration over a sports victory is That's the necessary psychological antidote.
It's a momentary and a very well-deserved respite. But let's finish our deep dive with a story that provides the ultimate counterpoint to all the fragility we've discussed.
Yeah.
The story of deep, long-term commitment and personal resilience.
This one is genuinely inspiring. Dr. Priscilla Sishine, a 73-year-old Kenyan grandmother, just graduated with a PhD in nuclear physics.
Nuclear physics.
52 years ago, she was forced to drop out of university to raise her younger siblings.
52 years.
And she went back and completed it. I mean, think about the commitment, the focus required to bridge 5 decades of technological and cultural change, just to complete her degree in a field that rigorous.
Her story is just proof that profound impact and foundational learning, they are not limited by age or by external circumstances. And her vision isn't just personal. Her next goal, she stated, is to help Africa build its first commercial nuclear reactor by 2035.
Wow.
So when we look at the systemic failures, the hospitals going back to pen and paper, the demographic collapse needing billions in incentives, it can feel overwhelming, like the systems are just too big to fix. Dr. Sitchine reminds you that foundational, long-term, resilient human effort is still the most powerful force for change, even in the most complex fields.
So what does this all mean? I think the core takeaway from this deep dive is that intense and growing tension. The tension between the desperate need for global stability, like that rare US-China HFC pact, and the immediate rising threats of systemic failure. Absolutely.
Whether that's the EU cyberattack or the accelerating Korean demographic crisis.
And we've learned some crucial lessons you can carry forward from this. First, that joint enforcement is the true currency of international cooperation. A promise means very little without verified inspection.
Right.
Second, the fragility of digital systems means your reliance on them has to be tempered. You have to know that failure can happen catastrophically, forcing us back to analog for critical infrastructure. And finally, that the cost of demographic correction is astronomically high. That signals profound, unavoidable economic shifts coming to developed economies worldwide.
Okay.
But let's just connect the extremes we've discussed one last time. We have the incredible resilience of the 73-year-old PhD, building a long-term energy future based on foundational physics knowledge.
And you contrast her with?
You contrast her with advanced EU institutions that crumble back to pen and paper the moment a digital threat hits. So, given the increasing speed of AI, like that GPT-5o, which can read a company's entire history in a second, and the rising cost of social stability, this raises a final provocative thought for you. How should you reevaluate your own reliance on complex, fragile, high-tech systems versus investing in foundational, resilient knowledge? Deep human skills that can't be wiped out in a single ransomware attack or made obsolete by a software update. What essential knowledge will survive the next systemic shock?
A profound point to end on. We have covered a dizzying amount of ground today, from banned greenhouse gases to $70,000 trust funds and 73-year-old nuclear physicists. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the most important stories shaping your world. We hope this has given you the knowledge and the context you need to navigate the contradictions of tomorrow. Until next time, keep exploring.